Are you looking for a beverage to boost your afternoon energy level and you don't really want to drink coffee because you don't like the taste or you don't like the way it makes you feel? I'm Dr. Hamilton Stubbs. I'm a double board certified sleep specialist, certified nutrition specialist, and a medical researcher. If you haven't already subscribed, subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit notifications so you'll know when I upload my next video. Today I want to talk to you about kombucha. Kombucha is a fermented black tea, and sometimes it has green tea in it as well, or it could just be all green tea. It's been around for thousands of years. In some places I've found that it's reported to have been used 220 years before Christ. It has a lot of controversy around the health benefits because researchers in the U.S. say there's not enough evidence to prove the health benefits or the health claims that people are making about kombucha. But it was around since 220 years before Christ. How much evidence do we need? If people are still drinking it, I have a feeling that it must be giving some benefit. So we need to catch up with what the benefits are and why kombucha has lasted for such a long time. I mean, there are plenty of beverages that were popular back in the day that we no longer drink, but we still have people drinking kombucha, and in fact, it has taken off in the U.S. We have kombucha places all over Richmond now. So kombucha must have some benefit if people are drinking it and have continued to drink it. So kombucha is a beverage that a lot of people make at home. You do need to have a kombucha culture. Sometimes you can get a culture from your previous bottle of kombucha, and you can also order it. And if you go to a local place that makes kombucha, they may actually sell you the SCOBY. And what you're going to do is you're going to get sterile equipment and a sterile environment. You have to be very careful about fermenting foods. People talk about wild fermentation, but you really need to make sure that you're actually cultivating good bacteria. I had a very dear, I want to call her my friend. She owned a restaurant, and it was one of the best Korean restaurants in our area. And she always promoted fermented foods. She's the one that got me eating so many more fermented foods. When I heard she died and she had stomach cancer, that made me question, did it come from the fermented foods? Now, if you have some comments on that, leave it below. But there is some evidence that if you don't make your ferments correctly, you can get some bacteria or yeast that increase your risk of developing gastric cancers. So you want to make sure that you have a clean environment and clean equipment, and that you're using the proper techniques. When you make the kombucha, I like to make it for a few days, let it ferment on my counter for a few days. Some people do it longer, and I usually cover it in with a dark cloth. Sometimes I put it in a container just in case the bottle breaks. But I use very thick glass bottles, and I like to use a plastic top because a metal top will rust out. And I will let that kombucha sit in there until I feel like it tastes the way I want it to feel. It does have sugar in it. I haven't found a way to make a ferment without adding some sugar, because that's what the bacteria want to eat. So don't worry about if it's high in sugar, because the bacteria will be eating up a lot of that sugar to make it a ferment. And when it does become your kombucha that you're going to drink, you want to get it before it turns too vinegary. It's going to be full of B vitamins and some other acids. It's going to have some amino acids in it, and it's going to have probiotics. The probiotics can nourish your gut bacteria, and improve your gut microbiome. And a good gut microbiome is associated with better health. For example, when your gut bacteria are healthy, you make more melatonin, more serotonin, and this is a direct connection between the gut and the brain. So it elevates your mood. It also helps you sleep better at night when you have a good gut microbiome. But when you're making your kombucha with lots of sugar, you have to make sure that you're not killing off the good bacteria because they're not like us. They do not like a lot of sugar. Now, I don't really make it as much as I used to because you have to be very careful. And after my friend died, now I can't say that she got a bacteria that caused gastric cancer, but there is an association between fermented foods and gastric cancer. After she passed away, I don't make too much of it at home because she grew up making it. And if she couldn't do it correctly or didn't do it correctly, I don't have that much confidence in my own kombucha making skills. So I just go and buy it. And there are some kombuchas. My favorite one has 14 grams of added sugar, way more than I need to eat. And so I've switched around to lower added sugar, kombuchas with less added sugar. Some of them I just don't like quite as well. But I have found one that tastes pretty good. And I'm just going to try it for a little while and see if I can feel the effects of this sugar. When you read the label, you'll find that the label has total carbohydrates, your total sugar, and then underneath the carbohydrate section is your added sugar amount. The one that I'm testing now has 8 grams of added sugar in the bottle. I usually don't drink a whole bottle because I don't want that much caffeine. So I would have a half a bottle, which will give me 1 teaspoon of sugar. Now, there are some precautions about drinking kombucha. You don't want to consume it too close to bedtime. It does have caffeine in it because it's made with black tea. And I laugh when I find people saying how they got such a boost from their kombucha because they drank 3 bottles. Well, hello, you had a lot of caffeine. Caffeine is a stimulant. It will wake you up. It will cause you to focus, but it doesn't help your memory, and it will not allow you to get the quality of sleep that you get when you don't have caffeine on board. So you have to take the same precautions with kombucha that you would with a cup of regular tea or a cup of coffee. You don't want to drink it close to bedtime. I don't recommend tea as a dinner beverage unless you're having your dinner at 3 in the afternoon following a circadian diet plan. And that's because caffeine can have a half-life of 4 to 6 hours and longer, depending on other medications you might be taking and your own health conditions. So don't drink the caffeine beverages, including kombucha, too close to bedtime. And you do want to read the label and make sure that you're not getting too much added sugar from your beverage. When you monitor your sugar, try to stay within the American Heart Association guidelines. I think they're much easier than the U.S. Department of Agriculture's guideline, which requires you to calculate 10% of your total calories and limit sugar to that. The American Heart Association says women should not drink more than 6 teaspoons of sugar in a day, and men shouldn't have more than 9. That's a lot easier, right? So if you are reading the label, remember that 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So if my bottle has 8 grams, that's 2 teaspoons. And that's 2. That means I have 4 more that I can have the rest of the day. So I'm only having half of that, so I'm getting 1 teaspoon. The other precaution is if you're pregnant, it's not recommended for you to drink fermented things. And if you're breastfeeding, and that's because you're getting live bacteria. The other thing is immune-compromised people aren't supposed to drink a kombucha. Probably a lot of things that have live active cultures in it. So those are some precautions that I'm aware of. Before you take any dietary change, make any dietary change, talk with your healthcare provider. This video is for information only. It's not for medical advice, just to give you some talking points where you can talk with your healthcare provider and get that individualized care that you deserve. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I hope you will. I'm Dr. Hamilton Stubbs, a double board certified sleep specialist, certified nutrition specialist. I talk about foods and how they help you sleep, and also how foods can help you stay awake. So follow me for that type of information. If I've said something you like, give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to share.